Go button has been pressed.
Restream is already magic at restream end.
Nothing has exploded yet on my end.
Oh, are we getting magic at YouTube? Let's see. Oh, who's gonna load first? Oh, let's see. Oh, magic at restream. Yeah,
Exploded yet on my.
Yeah, we're good.
Nailed it.
We're good. Good day, on the Suffolk Ram.
Skazz.
We're episode 164.
Are you sure? Are you sure we're not time traveling again, are we?
No, not 134. It's ironic, actually, because I said 134 last time. That was actually the first lockdown podcast, 134.
See, that's stuck in your mind. You're thinking we're nearly at the end of this, maybe, possibly. Don't bet on it.
I think we've got a good... There's still several months of our remote podcasts, at least.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Piss up in a brewery, mate. They couldn't arrange one.
Indeed.
And people are selfish.
Mm. Yes, well, 164th Wildlands podcast. For me, I've never done that bit.
How many of those you had to drink?
This will be the third.
The third? Christ.
I know. I'm slacking tonight.
I knew I was a miserable bastard to deal with, but Christ, the fact you have to drink 3 before you even get into a call.
Oh, no, I'm drinking 3 now. The first 2 were done in preparation. Podcast soon. Glug, 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 glug,
yeah,
glug.
I did the same thing.
Toys to Skazz soon. Glug, 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 glug.
I think, what was it I said on stream? You know what? Oh, I'm going to have to go and do the podcast. I think it's about time to have 1,000 paper cuts to the testicles, and then I'll just go and jump into a vat of vinegar.
You love the podcast that much, do you, Skazz?
Yeah, mate, it was great. Look, I was comfortable. I was warm in bed.
You could have podcast from in bed.
I could have done, but I'm not set up there for the podcast.
Well, that's your problem, isn't it?
All right, then. I'll set up so I can do it in bed.
We should do...
Pajama cast.
We do a pajama cast. We need to both do our podcast from our bed once, at least once.
At least once. We've done the Suited and Booted podcast. We've done the marriage podcast.
Yeah.
Can we do the Middlemeister's funeral podcast? Touch wood, that doesn't actually happen. But seeing as he hasn't turned up in 3,000 years, I assumed he's dead. So
yeah, he's dead to us, along with Bard and Chalky.
Yeah, we occasionally communicate with them through like IRC or YouTube chat. They're not really there.
Ouija board.
We've just lost our minds and we're imagining that there's someone in the chat talking to us.
Yeah. I'm still not convinced Middlemeister was not a figment of my imagination, but...
Like, mate, are you telling me that we're on the same wavelength and I can see the shit that you're hallucinating? Insanity is in fact contagious.
Yeah. Group hallucination, Skazz.
Who's to say that I'm even real? Who's to say this is real? Wait, hang on.
Anybody...
What if I'm insane and I'm imagining you imagining Middlemeister?
Fucking hell. But what if I'm insane, imagining you, imagining me, imagining Middlemeister?
Whilst imagining the stream. Oh, mate.
The stream
done.
Is the dying figment of imagination of some godlike ethereal entity as the end of the universe collapses round it.
We're done. It's over.
Yeah.
Could have done better.
That's what the game over screen at the end of the universe says.
Could have done better. That's like that's the lose quote. Game over. Lose quote.
Yeah.
How salty is that? That is pure bitch right there.
That's what I'm putting at the end of my game now. If you lose, you could have done better.
Could have done better.
Yeah. Oh well, maybe next time.
You only sucked half as bad as you could have done, but
like blind children could play this level, you didn't.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh.
Oh, dark humour is the British way.
Yeah, it's great.
Don't like dark humour, then clear off.
Yeah, go and listen to something American, and then you'll just think that it's some kind of comedy special you've tuned into. I say that in the nicest way possible.
Well, why not?
I say that in the nicest way possible coming from a British guy, meaning it's not really all that nice, to be honest.
No. British people are known for their incredibly cheerful demeanour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything's great, everything is wonderful.
Yeah, forever optimistic.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, very optimistic. All good. Life is good. Life is fine. Yay!
Mate, the thing with being British, the answer is always, could be worse. Everyone else in the world is like, oh, mate, red, awesome, fucking, oh, it's great, mate. And then we're like, yeah, it could be worse.
Skazz, that's never a true word spoken.
Nailed
Is
it.
There's that. You're right. We have that sort of continuous era of constant disappointment.
Yeah, but
Everything that goes on in our
it
life.
could be worse. It could be worse. We know this, but
Yeah.
just
It's pretty shit, but it could be worse.
exactly.
Yeah. That's what Britain's motto should be.
And it will be.
Do countries have mottos? Do they have slogans?
Towns do, don't they? So why don't
Yeah.
countries? Look it up. Find out.
Sorry. UK motto.
Complete shit, but not too bad. Complete shit, but we could be France.
Well, the motto of the monarch of the United Kingdom is God of my right. I don't know what my right what. Does the UK have a motto? No official motto. No.
Well, I'm gonna call up Lizzie at the end of the podcast. Oi, Lizzie, come on. Could be worse.
I've got a list of all countries and their mottos. There's anything exciting. There's gonna be something exciting on here. Now, here's a question for you. If the motto is "In Union and Liberty," who would you assume that belonged to?
North Korea, obviously.
Sensible answer. Who you assume it belonged to?
I don't know. It's not the States, is it?
You'd think so, because you know it's Argentina.
That's not a real place. Stop making that up.
One nation, one culture, which is slightly xenophobic, but Azerbaijan, the land of fire.
Yeah, sounds about right. I thought that was Vietnam.
There's got to be something good on here. Come on. This is very disappointing.
Just scroll down, literally. United Kingdom, Great Britain, could be worse. Put that edit into the page.
Chile, through reason or by force?
I choose. Is that like trick or treat? I pick trick.
Colombia, freedom and order.
Sure.
They're all about you. They're all a lot of stuff about unity and what have you. Cuba, fatherland or death.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Denmark. Denmark. Zaber, Denmark. King and fatherland.
They have one?
Apparently so. It's good Kong Og Fatherland.
And that is exactly how he would have said it.
God, King of Fatherland, yeah. Hang on, sir. I sure that's. After God, the Earth, God, Fatherland. That's more unity. Everybody's obsessed with unity.
Well, yeah, because they want to make it sound like they're all in that thing.
There's no great game engine.
Nah.
Just
fucking Unreal or Death.
yeah. Unreal. UE4 or Liberty.
Q Basic or Death.
Fiji. Fear God and honour the Queen.
Wow. That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Doesn't really give you much room to move.
Home, religion and fatherland.
Does Ireland have one?
I've not got to the I's yet. I'm in the G's at the moment. Free cell card.
You know, most of these places don't exist.
Well, you know, they're part of that feral being. Oh, here we go. Ireland. No official motto.
Slackers.
Oh, it's Jamaica. One of many one people. That's nice.
Yeah, I like that one. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. It's Jamaica. They always come up with good stuff.
Yeah.
South Korea. God, there's a lot of countries. I never realised there's so many countries down here.
I love that. Look, we're going to have to truncate this list. Like, yeah, it's done. It's over. It's finished. Like, anyone past, like, J, gone.
yeah. If you've got names of more than 3 syllables, I'm not interested.
It's like, oh, let's see. How can we shorten this? Oh, yeah, done. Gone. If you're a country that I don't live in, you don't exist.
Okay. In God we trust. Which country's that? Again. You would assume the States. It's Nicaragua.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Faith use
What's America? Burger and large fries, please.
Corruption to the top. All right. Okay. This is the unofficial motto. But let's see if you can guess which country this belongs to.
I can't.
Forward, Russia! God is with us.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yeah. You got one guess.
I don't know. Yarmouth.
Russia.
It's Yarmouth.
Yarmouth ain't a country. They ain't succeeded yet.
They've got California in it. It's got to be its own place. I mean, it'll be an island in the next 30 years-ish. Or it might be underwater. I haven't decided yet.
The end crowns the work.
Just what I throw out there. Russia can't have a motto.
They've got no official motto.
I was going to say, you can't translate Russian. It's impossible.
Victory is ours, Sudan. That's hasn't worked out for them.
Victory is ours. COD 2.
That does sound like a COD subtitle. COD 68. Victory is ours.
Yes, it.
Yes?
Did I ever play Call of Duty Ghosts?
Who knows?
There you
Probably.
go. That's how good it was. I don't remember.
Turns out God we trust is also the United States motto as well.
They're fucking plagiarising bastards.
Yeah, who came first?
I did.
Yeah, no, sadly.
As is always the way.
They're all very boring. They need to get some advertising companies involved into this.
Yeah, mate. I'm telling you, Lizzie, could be worse.
Oh, we could feel bad. We could have a good motto for the UK. Oh, we've done it, haven't we? It could be worse.
Yeah, I'm sticking with could be worse, mate.
Yeah. All right, we'll stick with that. Anyway, so Skazz, what have you been up to?
Right, so... Oh, I almost choked then. Need more coffee, 1 second. Coffee. That's better, now I feel more American. Right. I've not really been up to a lot, Ram, to be honest, other than pulling my hair out through technical difficulties. You know how it is, things don't work, things need to be reinstalled because you can't be asked to find out what the problem is, so you're just going to nuke and repave because it's usually quicker. Right? So
why is this web page loading? Fuck it, format it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, oh mate, this is bollocks. Why is my browser taking like 3 seconds to load a page? It's not that it's badly coded, it must be my computer. Nuke it, done. So I often spend a lot of time reinstalling operating systems on people's computers. You know, mine, other people's, whatever, and it's always been a bit of a ball ache. Because, you know, we boot off USB these days, and it's like, right, what are we booting today? Do I have a USB key free? You know, do I have the ISO that we need to make the bootable image? And it's like, right, so do I need Windows? Do I need a Linux distro? Ubuntu, Debian, Manjaro? You know, do I need a server-specific distro? You know, do I need OS2? Whatever, you know? And once upon a time, I had a nice little shortcut for it. I had like a Zalman hard drive caddy, and it had disk drive emulation on it, so that anything you put into a folder called ISO, you could literally say, hey yo, load up in optical disk drive mode, and then you could select the disk image, and it would just boot up like, it would just run it like it was the actual CD, which was handy as well if you ever wanted to play games, because you could just put the disk images on the thing, and it would go, oh, hey, there you go, there's the disk drive, there's the game. Well, somewhere over the years, I've managed to lose that fantastic disk drive. I used to have, like, 10, 15, 20 different ISOs of different things that I might need at any given time. And the idea being that I'd save time too, because I wouldn't have to rewrite an image to a memory stick every time, so there was an update. You go from, like, Ubuntu whatever LTS to the latest release, which is like 2004 or whatever. And you're like, oh, you have to sit there, you download the image, you rewrite it, you're wasting space on a hard drive to keep all these images backed up, whatever. So, because I had to reinstall some bits recently, actually, annoyingly, I found a tool, and it's called Ventoy. And what Ventoy does is it allows you to take any old USB pen drive, right, and it will install like a bootable whatever on it. I guess like it just gives you a menu, really. Takes up a couple of megs on the memory stick, right, and you can then use that USB key to boot ISOs. So any ISO you then put on that USB key, let's say you then pop it into the front of your computer. Let's say I've got Windows, Manjaro, Ubuntu server, right? Pop it in, go to the boot menu in your BIOS or whatever, spam F12, select your Ventoy pen drive, and then it'll come up with a Ventoy menu. Hey, which disk image do you want to read? Hit the one you want, Manjaro, Ubuntu server, Windows, whatever, and it will then run it as if you'd actually written the full ISO to the pen drive. So it gives me all the features, or the majority, because I can't boot games off of it. I can't run games off of it. It doesn't trick the operating system into thinking I've got an optical disk drive installed. But it allows me to, instead of having to rewrite to pen drives every time I want to install a different distro, or need to go to someone else's place and download an image, use Etcher or DD or Windows Media Creation Tool to write to a pen drive, I can literally just go, oh, hey, here you go, ISO, bung it on the pen drive, because it just mounts like a pen drive, as it always would, as it would back in the day before. Nothing. You don't have to write anything, you don't have to change anything to it, you just literally put on the ISO, stick it in the computer, and you're done. And it's fucking great. So much time saved.
So it sounds like fairly useful. I mean, I don't reinstall processes very often, so I don't have that issue. But I can't say, if you're someone who does a lot of rebuilds, if you're someone who's even had a job doing that, that sounds like a very useful tool.
Well, I mean, the trick is, like, I'm sat here right now, and in this room, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PCs running. Just in this room. So having the ability just to take a pen drive and then stick it in, boot off the pen drive, and then select the image that I want. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And a 32 gig pen drive. I mean, what's the average, disk image these days? Linux usually sits at, about 2 gigs?
Yeah, so a couple of gigs.
And Windows is like, between 2 and 4 for the 32-bit and the 64-bit.
Something like that, yeah.
You can have buckets of images on there, and just hook it up and the go. And if you want, like I said, if you want to update, just plug it in like you would a normal pen drive, and then just copy an ISO that you've downloaded onto the thing, and it's good to go. It's fantastic. It's amazing. Saving me so much time, because I'd literally I would have a keychain with different pen drives on it, and then on the pen drive I'd get like a Sharpie and just write oh, this is Debian, This is like the latest version of Ubuntu.
Yeah.
This is Manjaro. This is Windows. This is Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. And then I just, go, oh, here we go. Going to install Windows 7 on this machine. Going to install Windows 10 on that one. This makes it so much easier. And now that as I said, I lost that Zalman disk drive or caddy, hard drive caddy with the drive emulation. Just being able to turn any pen drive into like a multi-mount, installable media. Fantastic. I love it.
Is it free software?
Yes, completely free. It's open sourced and released under the GPL 3. So that's the GNU public license. It's available on Windows and Linux. So to actually install it on your pen drive, you use Windows. You just literally put your pen drive in, launch a little Windows application. It'll say pick your pen drive you want to install it on. Hit install. It'll give you the option to update or remove the software from the pen drive too if you want to. And then biggity bam, job done. On Linux, I believe you have to use the command line though. But when I set mine up, I just so happened to be in Windows. But it's really handy. No Mac support from what I can see, but no one uses Mac, so screw them. They don't get to have fun like everyone else.
No. It needs to be you take the Genius Bar and they do it for you.
Exactly. They don't. Apple users don't know how to. They don't even know what a disk is. What do you mean USB? They just use iCloud.
Yeah, there's more than one button on it. They get confused.
They're all like, what? What? Plug in. I ain't got a dongle for that. It's like, well, not my problem, mate. But yeah, it's a completely free tool, and I think it's badass. It's probably one of the coolest little pieces of software I've found in recent history. So yeah. And you can still use the pen drive for other files too. So you don't just you can't just I've got ISOs on here and now it's going to.
Oh yeah, which is a problem if you turn a pen drive into like a bootable media, it's basically the pen drive is used up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then if you were to say I'm going to put this ISO on this 32 gig memory stick, it would then rearrange all the partitions to perfectly match that 4 gig disk image. So the rest of it's just unused space. Whereas in this case, it just says, right, I'm going to install on a very small part of the pen drive, and then everything else is fair game. Drag and drop your images, and it supports multiple disk image types. So you'll have to look up what they are, but generally you get things in ISO. That works. I think IMG works on that as well. But and then the rest of the pen drive is there. Just put files on it, and if the file isn't one of the supported ISOs or supported disk images, it just ignores it. And you just use the thing as a pen drive. It's great. It's absolutely great.
Yeah, I say if you are ever need to do lots of reinstalling your operating systems, so that if you're an IT techie person who has to do lots of computer repairs, it sounds like an ideal bit of kit to have, particularly if you deal with lots of different systems.
Yeah, for sure.
This is ideal. So, Skazz tip of the month.
Yeah. Mate, I literally just used it just before we started the podcast.
This is awesome. I must tell everybody about it.
No, that was literally it. I mean, I used it for the first time a couple of days ago because I reinstalled Linux on my gaming PC. And I've just gone and reinstalled Windows on a small PC because I want to run some tests. And it's I didn't have to go, I'm going to have to rewrite the image. I'm going to have to rewrite an image to the pen drive. I was just nope, it's all there. Plugged it in, select it from the menu, job done. Brilliant. Such a time saver. And I don't have to worry about, storing disk images, rewriting disk images to keep the most up-to-date ones on a little keychain or whatever. I've just got one pen drive now, maybe two, so I have a backup. And then, just plug it in and the go.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So what have you been up to, mate?
Well, a couple of games. Update on my little soldering project.
Yeah? How'd it go?
Solder iron is fucked.
What?
Yep. I went to solder it, put my soldering on the solder, didn't melt.
How is a soldering iron fucked? It's literally a heating element.
I know. They ain't melting. Put it on some bought a damp sponge. Steam comes off it. Hold my hand near it. It's hot. Get some of my solder. Put it on the end of the soldering iron. Doesn't melt. So it's getting hot but not hot enough.
What kind of solder do you use? The lead-free stuff, or?
I've got both types, and I tried both.
Wow.
Yeah,
dude, you could get like micro USB soldering irons that could have done that job. Like a couple bucks off Amazon.
So I was like, oh, I need to get a new solder. I'll be fair, the solder station I've got is very cheap and cheerful. It isn't a very good one.
I was going to, because did you not get one with like the blower on it as well?
No. This is like a bulk sand Maplin one.
Oh, okay.
Very cheap. And cheap.
I was going to say they used to have somewhere like you'd have like it was not like a reflow station. Like you'd have your soldering iron and then something else with it, but I can't remember what it was. Like a hot air gun or whatever.
Yeah, this cost me I can't remember what I paid, but I've had it like probably about 12, 13 years. So
interesting. I thought you bought a new station. Oh no, that might have actually been the one that you were talking about. To be honest with you,
says you're long, so we've talked about it. Yeah, it's very old. So anyway, it's like oh, well, that's first. I thought if I'm gonna buy one, I'm gonna buy a decent one. So I went to buy a decent one. It's like, decent ones are quite expensive actually.
What's expensive for a soldering?
60 to 80 quid.
That's not bad though. I mean, if you're gonna use it regularly, I mean, for me, I'd say that's a real good amount because I'd love to have a decent soldering iron. I mean, I did arcade repairs with one of those USB soldering irons, like the little cheap, like £5-10 micro USB things, barely like a few watts of output. And you're like, oh god, I don't know if it's gonna get hot enough, and it barely melt the solder, and you'd be sat there like holding it on a joint, trying like praying you don't get a dry joint because you just sat there with it. But I mean, to have like a proper solder station, it'd be fantastic. Could I make a recommendation to you, Ram?
Yeah.
Actually, seeing as I've mentioned USB soldering irons, there is a project done by the same folks who do the Pine phone, that Linux phone that I like.
Yeah.
Right? They have a device called the Pine Sol, right? And it's a USB-C soldering iron. And it's only about £25.
Oh, well, look at that.
Mate, do it. From what I've heard, because a few of my mates managed to get a hold of them, they're out of stock at the moment. They'll be back in stock like at the end of the month. I'm looking to get one myself. I've been told they're fan-fucking-tastic. And the equivalent soldering iron, like literally maybe last year before, would have been £100. So for like 20 odd quid, bargain, mate.
So in the end, not wanting to deprive a small child of their little bedroom light much longer, I went online, googled the model, and I found I could buy the actual whole thing for about 22 quid. So I bought her a new one.
Bless you.
Yeah. I dropped off yesterday, and this boy was there, and she came and said, "Thank you for buying me a new light."
Bless you. Are you going to try and fix the one that you've got, like just to dick around with it, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's only going to sit there and go in the bin because she's got a new one. So
yeah.
I like to try. It's a weird mix of quite sophisticated and quite janky as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a dual layer. It's like a dual layer board. So you've got stuff in between two layer boards, which is fairly. You see, it's not super common, but then it's got a little IR receiver, and literally all they've done is got the infrared receiver soldered it in, just sticking downwards on its three like tails, and then they've just lined up the hole, so it's bent in such a way that it lines up with the hole on the side where the remote receives it.
Yeah, I've seen loads of stuff like that, mate.
It's like, really, you could put a little housing around it just to sort of hold it in place. No,
cut corners where you can.
I know, but they want it's such a fancy board for they do something janky like that.
That make you wonder, doesn't it? It does make you wonder.
Yeah, it's all engineering is all about a compromise. So anyway, that's that project done. It's completed.
Mm-hmm.
In inverted air quotes.
Recommending the Pine Sol to everyone. Ventoy and Pine Sol.
I'll have a look. So playing a couple of games. One which I'm playing with you and Zane, which we'll discuss in a moment.
Yes.
But I decided to play. I fancied playing a bit of a classic today.
I'm
playing Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon.
God, blimey.
Original Ghost Recon.
I played that in college, dude.
At least 2001.
I used to play that with. Do you remember Putty?
Yeah.
I used to play it with Putty.
Yeah.
And the guys from SST. Yeah, that was the clan that he was a member of. So where my lot would play like Quake and Unreal Tournament, they'd all play Ghost Recon, Island Thunder. What was the other one?
Rainbow Six.
No. So there was expansions to Ghost Recon.
Sorry, Desert Siege.
Was it Desert Siege?
Yeah, Desert Siege.
Yeah, sure. So like I actually bought those games just to play them, like to play against them, and that was one of my kind of first real introductions into tactical shooters, I guess.
Yeah. Sim tactical shooters.
Yeah, and it was so fun. And then I got into like Rainbow Six 3 and stuff like that. So what made you want to go to?
I was just looking for my Steam list, and I was like, oh, Ghost Recon's on there. I've not played that in a long time.
Let me just check to see if I've got Ghost Recon. I don't know. I don't think I have actually.
I'm surprised if you didn't.
Because I had them on disc.
Oh, I saw there was a. Do you see this latest Steam patch? I thought of you when I saw it. It says fixed a patch for people who had their Steam libraries not showing properly when they had more than 25,000 games. And I thought of you when I saw that. I thought, oh, Skazz be happy now.
Thanks, man. Just so you know, sadly, no, I do not have classic Ghost Recon.
Amazed me.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? I'm adding it to my wish list.
Honestly, that'd be hilarious game night one because we just die so often.
Let's have a look. There's Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six 3's on there.
I'm sure you have Rainbow Six.
I've got Rainbow Six 3. Yeah. Are any of the other Rainbow Six games on there?
I don't think the classic ones are.
So is 3 the earliest then?
3's the earliest it's on Steam.
Oh, hang on. Watch this. Includes 5 items. What's this? Rainbow Six Vegas. No one plays Vegas. It's when we went super arcadey. Yeah, you're probably right. I can't see the super classics. Didn't we have Raven Shield on the first 24 hours? Was that?
Yes,
Rainbow
I
Six
played
3?
Raven Shield. Yeah, I was Rainbow Six 3. I played it on the first 26 hours, 24 hours.
26 hours. Actually, it was probably closer to 26, wasn't it?
It was getting that way, yeah, to be fair.
We went over.
I played it on that. Rainbow Six 3, yeah, we had that. I had that level, which I never completed. I just kept playing it and playing it and playing it.
That was fantastic.
I just finally completed it.
The stress. You were like shaking. You were exhausted, like dribbling as you're going through it. Like,
I think I fell asleep after that.
I think you did. Yeah. You were fucking exhausted, man. It was great. It was absolutely brilliant. You know. So how did Ghost Recon go? Like, did it run? Because that was like an XP game.
I am amazed. A, it runs fine. B, it supports HD ultra wide.
What?
Yeah, my ultra wide, it supports it. I thought, fuck yeah, Fallout 4 didn't, but Ghost Recon from 2001 does.
Wow.
I was like, I was just going for this, and I was thinking, I thought there might be some, ultra wide ratio on there, but probably would be like full 1080.
Yeah.
But no, 256 by 1080 on there. I mean, it makes the UI, because obviously the UI. I was
going to say it's probably pulling it from Windows. From the Windows, what's it, isn't it?
Totally. But the UI icons obviously stay the same size, but they obviously get smaller effectively because they're the same size.
Yeah.
So they are really tiny in the core. They're still readable, but they're really tiny in the corners of the screen.
Sure.
So it's a bit weird, but yeah, it's weird going back. I mean, it's also, as I say, it's one of the sort of more when I think tactical shooters were tactical shooters. They're nowadays most tactical shooters went
arcadey with like Rainbow Six Vegas and stuff like that.
And
where you could like fucking run around.
Mainly for that, but Yeah, it's sort of they went down that route. This about the day of if you get shot, you're dead.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember.
You're out of the game. You can have your holds and your
Terrorist
team.
hunt was a challenge.
It was a fucking challenge. Yeah. It's set in the futuristic year 2008.
Oh, mate.
Uh,
I wonder what that's like.
Russia is basically starting to sort of like retake over and rebuild up the USSR. They start by trying to annex Georgia. So you basically start the game Georgia, which when I first played it, because I didn't know much about geography. I thought Georgia Georgia as in Georgia the state.
Oh, that would have been fantastic. Like, mate, Russia has
like,
invaded the States. So why the fuck do they want that shithole?
Yeah, geography has never been my strong point. So yeah, it's that, and then you lead a team of special forces called the Ghosts, and you're basically Black Ops things. As all Tom Clancy stuff tends to be, you tend to be some sort of Black Ops shit. It's all like you go in and you do the stuff before they actually officially do it, and
sure.
take out bases, cause disruption. You split. It plays very much similar to Rainbow Six. So, and I'm talking about the classic Rainbow Six, obviously. So, you get your briefing, split your team into fire teams, 1, 2, and 3, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. And you can have to. I don't know. You can have. Actually, I'm not trying to see how many max, but you can have a max of 6 operatives in the level at once, and then you go off.
Ram.
Yes.
Rainbow Six is on GOG.com.
Yes, it is.
Oh, mate. All right, let's add that to my wish list.
I've got the GOG version of Rainbow Six.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, it barely played in Windows 7, so I doubt.
Yeah, it says here it works on XP, Vista, and 7. Oh, fuck, I forgot Vista existed.
When you forgot, you burned it from your memory.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like,
But it's really weird going back and playing a really old style tactical shooter and running around. So a lot of sort of stuff that's sort of like filtered rage through to even quite sort of like more arcadey shooters. Actually, that's what fills through things like expanding reticles that move and expand into. You see that in a lot of even games that are more arcade side tend to have that to represent your bullet spread. That was a Rainbow Six thing, and this is basically Rainbow Six, but in the big area. So whereas Rainbow Six is more hostage rescue in a smallish area, or that's right, like a building or perhaps a small set of buildings very close together. This is very much big open areas. You have to deal with it. You're more like a military. It's closer to the armor style of shooting than it is to the Rainbow Six, sort of in between the two. And it is surprisingly good fun. The AI is shit, as is always the case. Your AI squad does have a habit of just standing there when they're being shot at.
Yeah.
And occasionally, if the enemy's directly in front of them, they'll fire back. When the enemy's beside them shooting at them, they'll just stand there and wait to die. This crack team squad of mercenaries will just die. They struggle to know where that you want them to go, so they'll tend to just sort of middle around behind you. So you'll like try and go to a door, open the door at an angle, so you can sort of like nothing gets in front of them. They'll just walk right from the door and get shot.
Good times, huh?
It has got sort of little foreballs like that, which makes it feel. But that's just how it was back then. That's probably best the AI could handle back then. And it's surprisingly pretty. No, it's not. Dog shit ugly, but it works.
I remember it being quite pretty. I mean, for the time.
I remember Rainbow Six had on its part of its FAQ, because when I was looking at getting it, I looked at the FAQ, and one of the things it says on there is, so the question was, why is this game over 1 gigabyte in size? And
why? There you go. Them were the days.
Yeah. And it's like, well, they say, we had to because the amount of animations they've got. Because they've got quite a lot of animations. It's surprisingly fluidly animated, the all soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Quite nicely animated. So it's a tactical shooter. You can run and gun. You basically, your operatives. So you get your mission briefing. You pick your operatives, and they have different specialties. So you've got riflemen, who are your general average soldier. You've got supports who carry a light machine gun, snipers, demos who carry carry rocket launchers, demo charges, and you can change the sort of general loadouts.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, okay, these guys will carry. This guy's going to carry Steph-Hand rocket launcher. He'll carry demo charges, or he'll carry grenades, or this guy's going to have a sniper who's going to carry a sniper rifle and a silenced pistol. You also unlock specialists. As you complete missions, you actually unlock special soldiers who have their own special gear. So It's like a British guy, they have an SA-80. There's like a specialist who's got an MP5 and so forth. But given that game features permadeath, when one of your guys dies in game, they're dead. They're out of the mission. I've not used any of them because I don't want to die. The game does, unlike Rainbow Six, which had like a generic, unnamed soldier. So if you got your named characters dead, you could still complete the missions. This just seems to, I don't know if it's randomly generated or if it's picked from a pool of names. But if your guys die, they get replaced. Your roster people to pick from never dwindles.
Mm-hmm.
However, unlike Rainbow Six, or not directly like Rainbow Six, in this one your guys actually gain experience points.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's a bit janky. Basically, you gain as a complete mission, they get experience points that you can put into things like combat or stealth or technical, that sort of stuff. I think it makes very little difference. I know the combat one makes your reticle come in quicker, but to try and actually get your guys through, so they've got a mission alive, is hard enough as it is. Because it is a game where you'll be going fine, and all of a sudden you'll make one mistake, and that's it, half your team is gone.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I remember many a time, literally thinking that an area is clear. A guy I didn't notice. Like, an AI character noticed, and my team's just fucking downed. And I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Because as you say, shoot to kill, one shot you down.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll get, very rarely you might get injured, but in Rainbow Six Leagues, in this game I've only died. And because it's been a long, because it's, I decided, because I want to sort of like, I wanted to experience it, but I wanted to sort of get through it quite quickly. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
So I actually bumped difficulty down just because I wanted to play through it. Yeah, recruit. Even then, though, I was still getting mullered on certain situations. If the area gets a drop on you, you've had it.
Yeah.
I mean, they do fire back bloody quick. As soon as they shot you, they fire at you. They do get you really quickly. It's quite disconcerting, actually. Head on the corner. I mean, there's your case where you head on the corner before you even try to aim. Boom! You're shot. You're dead.
This is a game made back in the days before participation trophies, kids. So don't expect it to go easy on you.
You do get medals.
You get medals, but you also get shot the fuck just for walking around the corner.
Yeah, also, so you get decorations. You'll get like the rifleman one and another one, and then you'll see the purple heart. as all the ones who died get the purple heart. It's like, oh.
Oh, bless.
Oh.
We've run out of purple hearts, lads.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that last mission, I got 5 purple hearts out of 6 soldiers.
Good job.
I still technically won. Well, I love it. It's like missions like, it's very important that we're not discovered. No one says. So you get there, you complete your mission. One guy survives, gets extraction and leaves. There's 5 dead bodies with US equipment, US uniforms on. They won't figure that out, will they? They'll never figure that one out. No, not at all. It has just things like the level sort of movement. So like things will happen in the levels as you go around, which didn't happen in Rainbow Six, but this one will have things like you'll be like, so the mission I was doing today, and I'm up to about sort of mission. There's about 16 missions. I think I'm mission 7 now, so I'm nearly halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a mission where you're stuck in a city, so you're city fighting. Literally, it's not bad because most of the buildings you can't go in. But there's a bit where you uncover something, then all of a sudden a fucking tank turns up. And that wasn't in the mission briefing. You weren't prepared for
I don't remember that either.
Yeah, fucking tank turns up and just is triggered by you going to this one place. So the first couple times I played, it's like, oh shit, I haven't got anything to deal with that. So when I restarted and equipped my team. I re-equipped my team, made sure I had one with rocket launcher. So that was actually probably the hardest mission level because whatever happened, the first 3 times I did it, you have to like secure this bank first, and for the first 2 goes, pretty much securing the bank, I'd lose about 2/3 of my soldiers, so I'd be down to about 2 people left.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I've done it, that's like the first thing you do, just around the corner from where you start. I was like, oh, so make sure I got that down so I could complete it without dying. Once you know, because the enemies don't tend to move. Rainbow Six tend to randomize enemies somewhat. Not all the time. Some were fixed. The guys tend to be in the same place every time, so you can sort of learn the level where people are going to be. But once I finally got that bit down, I remember going all the way through. Actually, the first time I experienced the tank was I managed. Everybody died during this first bit, so I was left with my sniper. And my sniper, I thought, fuck it, I'll try. Why not? So my sniper manages to get to the bit where there's a down aircraft. He manages to engage in a firefight using his sniper rifle, win, which crap is. And I'm just walking around it, clear out structures, walking around sort of like my extraction zone. And also I walk around a corner and there's a fucking tank there. It's like, shit.
Surprise!
Where did that come from? Yeah.
Stealth tank,
so like, yeah, well, yeah. It's like, that's just all like appeared at the map. I thought, well, what am I going to do? I thought, well, it's not my objective list, so all right then. So I go to show. So I nearly met. I was thinking I was going to be like the lone soldier who escapes because I nearly made the extraction zone. I was at the point just using my pistol. I gradually got there. Unfortunately, a guy walked around a corner and shot me in the head before I managed to pull the trigger. So I didn't make that one.
Good times.
But yeah, I kept. I always said actually, Rainbow Six, and this just said it's like I like more like puzzle games.
Yeah,
in ways because it's about picking the specific route through the building. That means your odds are so much in your favour that you will win and almost certainly not lose anybody. So you can, once you've got the route, and you'll get it, and gradually as you play each level, you'll get to say, okay, I can get to this part of the level without everybody dying. Now I get to this part, I've got a bit further along to the point where you guys just flow through the level, take everybody out and get out, and you've not lost anybody. And mission ends. So I've always said them more like puzzle games, and to some extent, this is a bit more like that because the enemies sort of fixed where they are. You're so much can't get the job, and it's just more a bit of luck and a bit of knowing where to go. It has got some annoying bits. As I mentioned, the AI being annoying because it's just stupid. Also, one for the 100 missions today, I had to blow up a SAM site. Service terminus that site. I get out there with my guy with the rocket launcher. I fire one rocket launcher, and it's firing at it. I've already used up one round taking it under the previous vehicle. Oh, that's the annoying thing. Only certain vehicles explode with rocket launchers. So there's a bit where like they kill the reinforcements, and this vehicle drives up. And after getting took out for a couple of times and worked out what was happening, I actually sat my guy there, the rocket launcher, waiting for him. And as they drove on a corner, I fired him. It did nothing. Hit
Surprise.
the vehicle, exploded, did nothing. So, they didn't program that vehicle to be destroyed. Therefore, so these guys with this open top wooden pickup truck, as it were, drive a corner, hit my rocket launcher, and just hop out.
They just shrug off. What was that, mate? That was a bit dusty.
Yeah, I can take it on a tank, but not a pickup truck. So
yeah, I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that.
Fire at the SAM site. And my rocket hits a twig and goes bang. It's like, really? It missed the SAM site, hit the twig, went bang. It's like, really? You are fucking kidding me. That's what you're going to do. I'm pretty sure in real life a rocket will go through a twig rather than just exploding on it. It's like,
you have too much faith in that rocket, mate.
Yeah. So I just said, fuck it. I just want to get my guys out. Ironically, that was the first time I got where everybody got out and lived. Whole squad came out survived.
Good job, Commander Ram.
Yeah. But no, it is quite fun. It is surprisingly for an old game. It's still surprisingly fun. It still holds up quite well as an enjoyable experience. I mean, you will find yourself swearing at it occasionally, but that's part of course of older games. I was pleasantly surprised, but yeah, I just fancy playing that. I just popped there. I was like, fuck it.
I'm really surprised that didn't need any patches or anything to get it to work.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I wanted to play Max Payne recently, and then remembered that I have to patch absolutely everything up just to get like sound and widescreen working. As you say, like Rainbow Six, classic Rainbow Six, it's probably not going to work. But actually, question: what was your first game over a gig to install?
Ooh.
For a full install, what was your first game you remember being over a gig?
Probably Ghost Recon. I honestly can't remember, Skazz.
Now, I'd say in my case, and I could be wrong in saying this, but I think after install, full install, was Starship Titanic. Released in, I believe, 98.
That was over a gig?
Yeah, for a full install, it was over a gig. I think. Because I remember I only had, like, a very, very small hard drive at the time. Like, I think it said something like 1.9 gig. Or something like that on Windows 95. Like, really, really small drive. I remember having to uninstall pretty much everything I had on that machine to get that game installed.
Wow, I remember seeing Starship Titanic in the shop when we were gonna buy it at one point because it's like Douglas Adams and we liked Hitchhikers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I picked up, I never realized it was over a gig full install. That's pretty crazy.
For the time, yeah.
Did it come? Must come multiple discs then.
I don't remember. I know I had it boxed. I don't remember much else.
It must, unless it was all compressed down.
Well, so you had the option of playing it with the disc in or a full install discless. And I always opted to go full install discless.
Yeah.
Because it was quieter.
Yes.
And so if I was sat there in the middle of the night playing Starship Titanic, the last thing I wanted was the disk drive to spin up as it was trying to load random things.
Trying to think how big CNC Renegade was in install size, because I feel I might have played that. I think that was quite big. I definitely remember sort of the turning. I don't remember the turning point. The game was like pushing a gig in size, which would be the early 2000s. I remember sort of, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon being one of them. But you got to forget, I sort of went away from gaming especially PC game. I sort of drifted away from it for quite a few years, and didn't get back into it until I would say it's been about 2003. It was Raven Shield that got back into PC gaming.
Yeah.
I was in a shop. I was in game. I just saw the magazine there with Rainbow Six Raven Shield on it.
Didn't you play Raven Shield first on my machine?
No, definitely not. I bought Raven Shield on release day, so
I was going to say, I remember having it on one of my machines in college.
I might have played it on one of your machines in college, but I bought Raven Shield on release day.
Sure.
Yeah, guaranteed. So when Raven Shield came out, I didn't really know you.
Well, no, but we didn't really know. Because, I mean, most of us weren't really even hanging out back then.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think I knew you well enough to, because you were in a different group you were a different group. We were in ABC, you were a different group.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, might have been GVQ Raven Shield came out. So I don't think we crossed. It was 2003. So I don't think we crossed paths at that point. Yeah, that was pre Round Nerd Skazz.
Oh yeah, God yeah, I know that much. Fuck yeah, like that was even a thing.
No, the meeting of the Round Nerds, as it were.
You know, I definitely remember us. Like, you were definitely playing it on one of my machines. 2004 at the latest.
I have definitely played it on one of your machines, and I remember sitting in your kitchen at your house playing on your Apple machine.
Mm-hmm. That you also played it in one of the downstairs classrooms.
I definitely played it on one of your machines for absolute definite. I'm gonna play on one of your machines, but I play. But no, I definitely played it at home first. because I built a new PC just for it.
There you go.
That was when I sort of get back into I just got back into PC gaming. Because I'd say it's when I sort of started taking gaming more as I started using it more as an actual hobby rather than just something you did, but not really as a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Which I had to treat it before then. I said, sort of like getting into the culture and all that sort of stuff. That was when I started following the media. That's when I sort of got into Rainbow Six. That's when I sort of got back into it, or into it properly. And yeah, I built a machine just to play Raven Shield on. Because before that, I had a 750 megahertz PC, which wouldn't have played Raven Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember going from my 133 to 750.
Yeah.
And reinstalling Rainbow Six on it. Because obviously it didn't play at all.
Yeah, it didn't run on your original machine.
No. So the one on 750 was just amazing. Because these days, the graphical difference between if you get a piece, obviously it's post-world PC games, you get a PC game, if you set to minimum graphics to maximum graphics, there are sort of cosmetic differences, but generally they both look pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between them isn't that much. What you tend to get now is more effects tend to be the thing that adds on,
like
lighting,
shadows, particles.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was full-blown textures were just gone.
Yeah.
You'd go from a human to a polystyrene man.
Yeah. The difference between basic Rainbow Six to higher was just night and day. They were look completely different. It went from, I'd say, boxers to full. At the time, felt like photorealism.
Yeah, I agree.
At the time, it was just such a massive jump between them, which is just sign how graphics are. I mean, equivalent as we've just said before about consoles, that the difference between a PS1 game and a PS2 game is night and day in terms of graphical quality. Night and day.
Yep.
And PS2 to PS3, it's definitely better on PS3, but then PS3 to PS4, not such a big jump.
That's where things started to kind of level out.
Yeah. That's when all textures have got as good as you need them to be, and then it goes down to effect and speed. And then PS4 to PS5, again, not really that great a jump.
No, I agree.
So, yeah. So that was just a wonderful experience. But yeah.
I just had a look. Chances are I was playing Rainbow Six 3 in late 2003. You'd have been playing it middle of 2003.
Yeah, when did it come out? It
came out March 18th, 2003.
So I've been doing my GMVQ then, because when I was doing GMVQ 2002, 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So we would not have. We
did cross paths.
Did we?
Mm-hmm, because mine and your groups on occasion shared classrooms.
Yeah.
Or we'd occasionally a couple of us would end up in your group's class.
Yeah. But you didn't. I thought you didn't do it. I thought you went straight to AVCE. I think if you did GMVQ.
No, but I was drifting about.
Yeah. So I thought we first met in AVCE.
But again, I was drifting about.
Yeah. I think we met in AVCE. So that's what. But then that would tie with what you're saying, because late 2003, we would have started AVCE.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So because I had known some of your group beforehand, because, as I say, I'd been drifting about. I was already doing stuff in the college before I started AVCE, but I wasn't, well, as you know, I weren't particularly serious when I started AVCE either, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure. See, I might have forgotten a previous memory, but my first memory that I can remember with you was in what's it called, the Jubilee building, the newer building,
the one at the back.
Yeah, near the crash.
Yeah.
I was going to into your group I was going to join one of your group for some reason. And I was in there, and I think you were there. I think Tim was there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I first started speaking to you. That's when I first remember speaking. That's when I first remember speaking to you.
Yep.
We sat up in the corner. And I don't think we did much the entire lesson. But
Which is standard, to be fair.
Which was standard, yeah. But I very remember speaking to you in that room and probably played something on a laptop at some point.
It might have been... So, at the time, I was playing Doom 3 and Rainbow Six 3 on my laptop.
Yeah.
Like, I pretty much always had those games installed on my laptop just for the lols. Just so I could wreck the fuck out of Putty, to be fair. So...
Yeah. Well, I do Doom 3 as well as... Because I got Doom 3 on release as well. I did like Doom 3.
It was alright. To me, Doom 3 only really got good when the Last Man Standing mod came out, which then enabled co-op.
And the singer, but by itself, base Doom 3, it had
Not
some really good stuff.
It was alright.
No, it's really good stuff in it. Like the computers were fantastic. The fact that you could just to the computer's interface it straight away, having to bring up a special screen. That was amazing, and it's something that in today a lot of games don't do. That was pretty great fun. That was cool. That was great. I personally found Doom 3 very predictable.
Agreed. There was a few bits of jank in it, and I will say actually I'm probably misremembering my timeline here. It might not have been Doom 3 on that machine at the time because Doom 3 came out in 2005.
Yeah, it must have been. That'd been late ABC for us then.
Yeah.
Or Foundation year.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember Doom. Yeah, Doom 3 was. It was okay as a shooter. It just wasn't very inspiring.
It wasn't what people wanted from Doom.
It was. I wasn't so much why. I know people didn't like the fact that it was a lot more slower paced and so forth. What I disliked about it was it didn't let me be clever. It didn't let me look at all these places that are like sort of like small shapes and small height, big enough that there's all spidery things through. Can I block them off? Or there's some stuff that moves. Can I block them off? No, I can't. Oh. It just, every time she'll try to be clever, it's like, no, you can't do that. We've decided you're going to get ambushed here, whether you like it or not.
Well, yeah, because it's effectively an arena shooter with corridors joining it together.
But then they made it very slow paced.
Yeah, which was bad move, to be fair. I just remember the early days of that game, near enough constantly having to have the torch up, and then you'd want to flip out to your pistol, which would then put away the torch, which would then throw you into darkness. You pull out your pistol, you can't see what you're about to shoot. You pull the pistol out, and the thing's in your face.
It was too fixed to be. It was too arena style for survival horror, but it was too slow paced to be an arena shooter.
Yeah,
and it just didn't work. But I know it's like you walk to a room, it's like, well, the enemy's going to spawn there, and there. Oh yes, that's where they spawn.
There you go.
What a shock! It's just I'm not completed, but it was I had no interest in. I've no interest ever in visiting it or playing again. I know they learned their lesson somewhat. They did Doom again.
Yeah,
but it was just very. I think the trouble was they'd looked at Half-Life, and they'd tried to sort of copy what Half-Life had done, but they didn't copy. They sort of did this weird mashup. It just didn't work.
Sure.
So it wasn't Doom. That was his big. No, that was his biggest crime.
I agree. It was something new. It was something different with a Doom coat of paint, but wasn't. Look, it looked like Doom. You know what I mean? It was on Mars.
Yeah.
You know, all the Doom monsters were present, but it weren't Doom.
And it looked. It
was a beautiful game for the time.
It looked absolutely beautiful. Particularly the outside parts where you go outside on Mars is absolutely fantastic.
It stressed out my machine at the time. It really beat the crap out of my machine at the time.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Beautiful beautiful game. Can't fault it at all for that. It's just, yeah, I was quite hyped for it, and then I was very let down by it.
Yeah, I could understand that.
Yeah. So, onto the club classics, onto something new that looks like a classic.
Yeah,
So we've been playing Valheim.
years. For Rando's game night.
Rando's game night. You can watch the first episode is on the channel, and the second episode will be going up on Monday, which was a lot easier to edit than the first one.
You learned some tricks.
I learned some tricks that makes editing a lot quicker. And
1, 2, 3.
I wish I'd done that like a year ago.
I'm surprised I'm really surprised actually you didn't.
I never thought about doing it. It's honestly it never crossed my mind doing mod because most time when I'm editing, I'm usually using a source.
Yeah.
And so forth. So it never crossed my mind that about you doing multicam. Never once did this like trick. Maybe I should do it this way. So yeah.
Lesson learned.
But it's a lot quicker. But it's sort of a MMO, but you host it yourself. Or someone hosts. It doesn't have an official. Are there official servers, or are they all just player hosted?
I don't know. I know that generally, people just run the server on their machine. Like the dedicated wise, there isn't a dedicated client or dedicated server. There is a dedicated server, but there is no dedicated server download that you can just launch. But no, like usually people would just start their world on their computer as they're playing it, and then their friends would join their IP. I don't think there are. I don't know. I mean, I just opted to run my own server in a container and went with that. Because it's still very early on, and realistically, accessing a server that isn't on the server list is a complete and utter fucking ball ache.
Yeah,
because you can't even save a server that you want to play on, and servers have to have passwords.
That's interesting.
They have to, because if you leave the password field blank, the server doesn't launch. It just literally craps the bed.
In case people haven't realised, this is still an early access.
Yes.
So the worlds are they procedurally generated? The worlds? Or
I don't know. I've only ever generated one, and that's the one that we're using.
I noticed when I was launching up and I was with Joe, well, they had a seed, which implied that it's procedurally generated.
I would say likely then. I just completely ignored all of that, and I ran my own. I generated that one, played it for about an hour on stream one day, and then when we all said, "Hey, let's play Valheim," I just literally took that generated world, and moved it over to another machine.
Yeah.
So outside of that, I couldn't. I've only ever generated one world.
Okay. So you are a dead Viking whose soul has been taken to basically help do something for Odin in a place called Valheim. I read the storyline in was meant to be cool movie trailer voice, but turned into Bill and Ted voice by the end of it.
Right.
But yeah, it did. So it started off like in a world and ended up in dude at the end of it. Dude, totally bogus.
Rad.
No way. Yes way.
The idea basically is that you're tasked with taking down like several spirits.
Yes.
And to do that, you're literally dropped off with nothing. So you make a little character and you're given rags and your fists, and then you travel the world and gather materials to build shelters, to craft
Yeah.
items, to upgrade equipment, to eventually, hopefully, be able to take on these
Yeah.
spirits for Odin to do magic. Basic tutorials from one of Odin's crows, if I remember rightly.
Hugin the
And
Crow.
yeah, it
Who
comes across
also
as very MMO style, doesn't it? Where you get like the little
yeah.
exclamation mark over the character, and
There's no sort of like the quest to literally kill these 5 creatures, demons, whatever. There's no other quests to do in it.
no, there's like no go over here, get that. There's a very very basic tutorial as part of quests, but I could never remember it. When we went into it, I couldn't even remember what I'd learned from before. But it's weird because graphically it doesn't look like it's all that hot, but it will tank a reasonably old PC.
Point out they're well optimized.
I don't know.
What I would say though is, so per actual textures and stuff don't look that great. However, its lighting
Beautiful.
very nice.
Yes.
And I think actually the light. It's interesting actually how lighting makes such a difference, and actual effects make such a difference to a game. You have a game that looks like shit, but if you have decent lighting in it and you have decent fog effects and so forth, that pulls everything up.
Yes.
Makes everything look better. Because it looks like, I would say, PS2 era.
I'd give it a little bit more credit than that, like, bridging PlayStation 3. It's not very high quality at all.
No.
But as you say, those lighting effects, those particle effects really do. I mean, because Zaber had to turn some stuff down, didn't he?
Yeah, he turned some stuff off, yeah.
Which surprised me, given that he's on like a GTX 980. And someone's going to say, well, that's pretty old. It's like, well, that's still more powerful than the graphics card that I was running in my last machine. So that would mean that my gaming laptop hasn't got a bloody chance with Valheim.
Yeah.
But it as you say, looks classic, beautiful effects, randomly-ish generated world, tutorials thin as fuck, and not really a whole lot of guidance. Would you say it's got like survival elements in it?
Very light survival elements, very light.
Well, kind of imagine like Ark. Oh no, I'm cold. Oh no, I'm wet. Oh, I'm well rested, and you get like stat boosts, debuffs, and
it's the survival treadmill is very generous.
Yes.
Within about, if we hadn't been mucking around the first 2 hours we were playing it, if we had mucked around, we could have built a very nice, decent house within the first couple of hours.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Around. There's enough resources there.
It took us a little while to find a few bits.
Yeah.
Because, certain materials only appear in certain places. But once you figured that out, it wasn't too bad. I mean, we kind of had a little head start because I'd already made a couple crafting stations.
Yeah.
And set up places to make food and stuff like that. But, I mean, can I be honest with you? I'm so glad you fucking took that bow and arrow. Fuck me. Trying to hunt deer is a ball ache in that game without a bow and arrow.
I was getting quite good with that bow and arrow. I was watching back the footage. I was like, actually, I'm getting quite a good shot with that bow and arrow. I realised he's firing it roughly over a hill and just hearing a scream as a deer dies. It's like, oh yeah, I've got another one.
Nailed it. I was fucking. It's like, oh yeah, mate, Ram, I've got one. Oh yeah, I'm on my third. It's like, fuck you. I felt like Gimli and Legolas from fucking Lord of the Rings.
I think I was more like 9 by that point.
That was ridiculous. You were just fucking picking them off. I didn't even see the damn things, and you were picking them off left and right.
Like 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 now. Yep.
Cheeky bastard. I mean, it's neat, really, because you start off with super basic equipment. And then based on other stuff that you craft, you can upgrade, say, your crafting table, which then gives you more options to build more stuff, which you can then use to upgrade more equipment. Progression's pretty solid, although it doesn't tell you how to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it is largely guesswork. Gathering materials isn't particularly difficult. As you say, the survival element's pretty okay. I mean, you've got to eat, you've got to stay warm.
But even when you eat something to regain your health. You don't starve to death.
No, thankfully. Not that it's hard to get meat and stuff like that anyway.
Oh no, you compare this game to Green Hell.
If Valheim was green hell, I'd have thrown my PC through a fucking window.
We've got something like 100 bits of meat just stashed away. It doesn't go off. We've got 100 bits of cooked meat stashed away, just ready to be eaten as and when. Actually, the meal mechanic's interesting because if you've eaten well, it makes you regain your health, but you can't eat and then eat just continuously. So most games where eating improves your health mechanic, you eat one, then you can eat 10 roast turkeys or something.
Yeah.
This one's like, no, once you've eaten a meal, you've eaten a meal.
You can stack 3 things, can you not? So like if you eat like say pig, you can then go and eat say like maybe some berries or whatever on top.
Yeah. But you can't have free pig.
No.
So you sort of like, which sort of so makes sense. You can sort of like have a bit of a mixed diet.
And based on how much you've eaten, will actually dictate how far your health will regenerate as well.
Yeah. So that's sort of neat. That's a neat simplification way to put it in as well. So eating becomes important.
Mm-hmm.
What you eat becomes important. You're not just going to chow down on anything. You can't just like, well, I'll just eat next. Each cherry gives me 1 HP, or therefore eat 100 cherries. No, that doesn't work. So it's got some neat ideas to it.
It's also interesting actually how they're updating it, because when I played, and that was probably over a month ago or whatever, before we even started playing it on our little server, my crafting table was just left out in the open, and that didn't matter. You could just use the crafting table, just plonk it down in the middle of nowhere, and as long as you were near the crafting table and the crafting table was near a shelter, you were good. Whereas when we played it this time, we had to actually cover the shelter or cover the workbench before we could even use it.
Yeah, it's this weird, slight chicken and egg scenario, because so you can't just build anywhere initially. You have to build a workbench, and that creates like a radius.
Yes.
That you can build within. But then, if you want to use the workbench, you need to cover it over, which means you need to build your workbench first, then build a building around it, and then if you want to have a floor, you take the workbench up, or I don't know if you can pick up and move it.
I'm not entirely sure, to be
you
honest.
have to lay a floor and then put the workbench back down again. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg stuff how you have to go about it, which feels a little bit bullshit.
It's definitely wobbly. Like repairing equipment, I wasn't entirely sure how the hell I was supposed to do that. I could repair a building, but I couldn't repair my equipment. So I just ended up making new equipment every time.
Well, yeah, I mean, you click a little repair button, but it doesn't seem you can't just like say what you want to repair, just repairs it. I don't know if that uses resources or not, but it just seems to. I thought, I thought, oh, must those I drag or want to repair across to it? And nothing happened, so I just clicked in. It's like, oh, you've repaired your stone axe. Well, I don't want to repair my stone. I want to repair my bow.
The interface is very wobbly.
Yeah, again, also very old-fashioned style interface.
Yes.
I mean, the nostalgia part of me likes it because it feels quite old school RPG.
I mean, it sounds like I'm complaining. It's not bad. It's just different. It's not as simple as you'd expect it to be given the time we live.
No, I mean it's also we said it's early access still, and so it's going to be a bit janky, but it's still it still plays
for a 15 quid game or thereabouts. It's fucking really fun.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought you guys were going to bounce off at hardcore, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't. Well, the reason I'm all right with it is that it's not got to the bullshit stage of collecting things yet. It's not going like, okay, to craft X, Y, Z, you need 100 of these that only drop by this rare enemy type.
I mean, it felt a bit bullshit when it came to like, oh, hey, you need to get, leather scraps, you need to get deer hide, and I'm like, fuck, this is going to take forever. And this is just for basic leather armor.
But
And then to be able to do that, I need to then set up a tanning station and like the chopping block and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like, because I was the one that was working on the crafting station effectively.
Yeah. I was hunting.
Yeah.
And Abel was building a warehouse.
Yeah, for sure. Bless him. I mean, it looks so much like a fucking warehouse. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like I say, if you didn't have that bow and arrow, it'd take fucking ages to get those deer hides.
Yeah, it would. You have to have some range for it, but even then, because you on average 2 deer hides per deer, and you need 18 bits total to craft all 3 bits are, you only need 9 deer, and they you tend to find them in groups of 2 or 3. So as long as you're sort of like careful your aim and stuff, you can actually pretty quick. I mean, within about an hour, I'd found enough deer hide to give us all I know you already had some, but enough to give us all full sets of armor. So it's not. There is. I don't mind. It's got so far for me. It's got the right balance of finding resources, but it's not bullshit finding resources. Sure. It's not World of Warcraft where I need to collect 1,000 feathers. You go kill these birds. Only 1 in 10 birds. Yeah. Only 1 in 10 birds will drop a feather that you need. It's not got any of that bullshitness to it. It's like, okay, a deer will drop a deer hide. No questions. And it'll probably drop 2. Occasionally drop 1, but I think there might be more cases it was out of my range to pick it up. So there's none of that quite arbitrary bullshit, which would put me off it. So it's got its all survival bits to it, which are enough to keep me going at the moment. The other sort of sadly about it is because it's a game where you have to sort of explore the world. The world seems quite big. At least look at the map, it looks like quite a big area.
Reasonably.
Yeah. I don't know how true to scale that map is. But control-based building games like this is when you build a base, you don't want to go too mad because you've got to move on at some point, and that base is just going to be left there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, because this actually do you remember when we played Ark and it didn't really have anything to encourage us to go anywhere?
Yeah.
So we found that we'd very quickly build a small base, and we're like, nope, we're good now.
Yeah. Within about, I think the first day I played Ark, I built a little, I think it's thatch.
Yeah,
base.
well, because we played together, didn't we, at one point on?
Did we? I don't remember.
Very, 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 very briefly.
Must have been very brief. You sure it wasn't you and somebody else?
No, I've played with a few people on Ark.
Yeah.
It might have been early round nerds.
I don't remember just doing that. We might have done, but I don't remember.
We didn't stream it or anything.
No, we may have done. I don't remember. I don't honestly remember doing that. But yeah, it's like built a very basic base. Like, well, I've killed a lot of stuff. I've got a roof I've made. I'm actually just quite happy now to just sit here and just enjoy the world. Yeah. There's no sort of encouragement to move on.
Whereas in Valheim, it says, right, you've done this. Because it puts the first boss right on top of you, pretty much. Yeah. Right, so you build your first little base. And then it's like, well, now you've got to go to some completely new area to find the next thing. And you're like, oh, so everything I've just done here, just nothing.
The only good thing is it's so quick to build a base. It's not a big hardship, so... And you carry so much.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe, because I always found my inventory filling up. And the fact that I was the one upgrading those workbenches and that's not hugely quick to do.
We'll see, because we need to get to the Black Forest.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've set up a couple of workbenches. It's literally, honestly, just those tanning stations that make it more difficult. But I mean, that's what we need to make the gear that we're using now. So if we haven't already got a stockpile of like deer hides and that, it's going to become a ball ache very quickly as we move on.
Yeah.
To set that up.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to sort of come up a plan what we're going to do in the next episode.
Sure. Got to fucking figure out where we need to go. Like, which direction?
I guess we've got to cross the river somehow. So I'm not sure how we build a boat.
I don't, because I've heard we can build boats.
Well, it's in the trailer you can build a boat.
I've never watched the trailer.
The trailer, yeah, you can build like sort of stone buildings and stuff.
This is going to be terrifying.
Yeah, we'll build a castle at some point.
At some point,
Grandad's castle, a big dungeon.
I will say I'm pretty pleased with the way it's working at the moment too. When I initially set up the server, I was on a machine with 8 gigs of RAM. Second time I set up the server, I only had 2 gigs of RAM. That was only letting me allocate about 800 megs. It was not happy on that small amount of RAM. So I ended up upgrading my little server box with an extra 4 gigs of RAM. And at that point, it worked pretty well. And I mean, resource-wise, it's using next to nothing on this little box.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
So I mean, I literally could just run it all day if I wanted to. I'm pleased that it's working as well as it is. The game plays pretty smoothly as well. There's some occasional stutter and that, but I mean, I expect that in games these days, and especially when something's in early access.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's pretty solid overall, to be fair to it.
But what do you want to see in it, if anything?
Well, that's a good question.
Because I've got a request for him.
That's a real good question. I'm not sure actually. I can't. Nothing. If I thought about it hard enough, I could probably come up with a list of things, but nothing to the top of my head. So, what would you like to see in it?
This is.
There's one thing I would like to see.
Go on.
Remember your server that you were last on.
There you go. That's one of the ones I want. So instead of asking me every time I pick a character if I want to generate a world with a new seed, don't ask me.
Yeah.
Right?
Last time you used this character, use this server. Do you wish to reconnect to it?
Basically,
yes.
Yeah. Or, give me the option. So I pick the character and then say, give me just a button. Do I want to generate a new world or do I want to connect to one? I'd like to connect to one. These are the ones you've connected to. These are the Valheim servers that are currently available. Pick one.
Yeah. Or something as simple as a continue button that lets your last character through your last server.
That would be fan-fucking-tastic. Because is it not like you have to click your character? So start the game.
Yep.
Press any button to continue. Select your character. Cancel the seed. Click the multiplayer, like the server section. Click join IP. Input IP. Then put in password. Then you're in the game if it lets you connect. If not, then you get booted back out to the menu. Select your character. Cancel the fucking generate with seed.
Not quite that bad. When I was trying to connect to your server, it didn't boot me out. It just kicked me back to the server list.
Oh, fair that. But either way, it fucking feels that bad.
Yeah, it's a bit of like, really? I've got to enter it all in again. You know what I signed in last. Just remember it. Just store that somewhere in a text file and remember it.
Would be nice. A lot of people they're using the workarounds of using the Steam server lists.
Yeah.
But I found that to be a bit hit and miss as to whether or not that actually does what it says on the tin.
Not the end of the world. Anyway, what's your rest of your list?
Well, it's literally just down to UI at that point. At this point, and maybe clean up that tutorial. You desperately need to clean up that tutorial.
They do a Sea of Thieves style thing where before you go for have a little tutorial zone before you go into the actual main.
So I'll throw out there. I never did that in Sea of Thieves.
Did you not?
Nope. I just got thrown straight onto the island, straight onto my ship. First time I saw that was first time I saw that tutorial in Sea of Thieves was when my kids played on PC.
Oh, really? Okay.
First time I played, straight the fuck away, straight on a main island. You wake up at the pub, and
good luck, guys.
Yeah, basically. And that was one of the things I actually quite liked about it. But then Sea of Thieves is so stupidly simple That there was very little you could screw up. But in Valheim, build this, find that, put this together this way. It's like, how does all this work? You know, like right click to bring up the build menus and all that. If you didn't remember it, like I actually told it to reset my tutorials, but it didn't seem to do anything.
No.
So maybe perhaps clean up that interface a little bit. And clean up the way you join the server. Otherwise, I quite like it.
I also don't like the fact that one thing I noticed was, because we weren't sure about, so we took out the first boss.
Yes.
And Zaber, now I'm not sure if it's who did the most damage or who got the killing blow. I suppose who got the killing blow in. He did that. He then, as soon as he did that, on his screen, it popped up new recipes.
No, I think it's because he was flat on top of the thing when he killed it.
Maybe.
When we killed it, it just basically... Because, like, you know, sometimes when we drop... So when he threw his spear at the boss, I kept picking it up.
Yes.
Because it would just gravitate towards me. And I think the same thing happened with the first boss. Because even at one point, I got the last hit on one of them. And I think you picked up the stuff.
I didn't pick up the stuff. So, first one... He hit and got the last bit on, went down. He picked up he then picked up the trophy and it said new recipes unlocked.
It just sits there. It just sits there on the floor. You have to actually go and pick it up.
Yeah, but I think he picked it up straight away. I think because he was nearby it. Yeah. He then dropped it and gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second time we killed it, it said for you. New recipes unlocked, blah, 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 blah. The third time, you guys backed off and I finished off and I didn't get any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a bit concerned that I've not unlocked. Hopefully these recipes won't be vitally important because I've not unlocked them.
Well, we can always do that boss again because it's a cakewalk. Realistically, you don't... Because we were over-prepared.
It was 2 minutes to the last one, not the third time, just less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So
just run in there and wail on the damn thing because we were over prepared. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Like, you're right. They could do with a bit of polish. Just to show how things work. But as you say, it's early access, and at the moment the game actually works, which is more than can be said about a lot of other games.
Yeah. An actual grouping system whereby we can say, well, we're a group, therefore map is shared. When you kill the boss, you all unlock the recipes or what have you, because you're all as a group. I would like a bit more group sharing. At the moment,
Green Hell style.
Yeah, at the moment, you're all, even though you may work together, you're all independent. Mm-hmm. You're all out for yourself.
But then is there not... I think there might actually be an option for PvP, because some people go around and attack other people's bases. So I would imagine that's why.
You can enable it in your... literally in the... if it's on the map, you can enable it.
Sure.
Or no, I think it's when you bring up your inventory and so forth, and then right side there's like a set of symbols. I think one of them is enable friendly fire.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means you can do friendly fire or whether you can receive it friendly fire. I would hope it was set up so that you basically opt into PvP.
Yeah.
So I say I can do friendly fire, but I'll also be able to receive it. But I can only do friendly fire to those else who've also opted in to receive friendly fire.
Yeah. No, I get you.
So, no. Pass on to experiment with.
Maybe. No. But given how Xavier keeps running up to us and kicking us,
I'm sure we can disable it again. Yeah, that was annoying. I was trying to sort my camera out, and he just kept kicking me and moving.
You kept spinning on the spot.
Yeah. Do you know what's causing it? My throttle levers on my HOTAS.
Really?
Yeah, because they were set forward, it was received as an input. So my throttle levers are set to sort of mid-point now on the HOTAS that stops it happening.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So, that's what you get for having 50 different input devices connected up to the PC.
Right. It's one of these devices. I don't know which one it is. It's one of them, and there's several ones that do analog input.
Good times.
Which one is it? Or fake analog input. Perfect. Right. Anything else to add on Valheim?
Nah, man. It looks pretty. It plays all right. It's janky, but it's early access.
There we go. In that case, that brings us to a close. So, farewell watching up in the Suffolk Ground.
Skazz.
And you can join us in a fortnight's time on the 8th of May at 9:30 GMT here on twitch.tv/roundnerds or youtube.com/roundnerds. You can also join us for our games nights you can follow my stream twitch.tv/SuffolkGram
and twitch.tv/Skazzius, SK4ZZI0US.
And you can visit our website roundnerds.co.uk and be sure to check out our latest video for the game night, which will be released on Monday. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you